Hey folks, welcome to the channel. As you guessed from the title, this is another Damascus Throwdown Build-Off Challenge. This time it's going to be a basket weave Damascus, and if you're curious about this one, definitely stay tuned. We're going to build the Damascus first. Stay tuned to the end of the video and you see who I issued this challenge to. Let's take a look.
Okay, ready to wash this steel. I tell you, one of my pet peeves, these damn stickers on every piece, because these are all the end pieces, drives me crazy.
It took me the better part of 20 minutes to get all these cleaned up because of the stickers, but it's really important to start with clean steel when you're doing Damascus. This is my usual 31 layer billet, 16 layers of 1/8 inch 1095 and 15 layers of 0.049 inch 15N20. Now I'm welding up the corners, putting a handle on it, and it's going in the forge. There's a lot of steel in this stack, but I have to make enough for 2 billets. I'm setting the welds with just some light pressure on the press, and I'll repeat this a couple of times, 3 times to be precise, until I know the forge weld is set, and then I'll start to do more aggressive drawing out of the billet. Once I've drawn it out a bit, I like to take it to the grinder and take the welds off the corners, just so I don't get any inclusions of mild steel into the billet. Now we're going to draw this out and prepare for it being split up into 4. This is going to be a really high layer count Damascus, over 700 layers, so we're going to have to plan for that. I'm using this equal measure tool to cut up the billet into equal pieces. Here I'm going to get 4 pieces. We're going to slice them up on the bandsaw, and then eventually we're going to weld them back together and reforge them. This first cut and restack will take us from 31 layers to 124 layers. I always like to soak my billet in kerosene before I put it into the forge. What this does is the kerosene will burn off, and it also burns off any oxygen that might be between the layers. It just helps with the forge weld. Now I'm just drawing out the billet to get ready for the next restack. The next one is going to be a 3-layer stack, and it's going to take us from 124 layers to 372 layers. Obviously, with this high layer count and lots of restacks, having a press is crucial. I couldn't imagine trying to do this by hand. I didn't capture the footage of cutting this up, grinding the sides, and re-welding it. You've seen it all before. Now we're at 372 layers and I'm just drawing this out. I wanted to take a bit of time and tell you why I wanted to get such a high layer count. I'm going for what's called chatoyance, which is almost like a 3D effect when you have so many layers in the Damascus, and it looks amazing and it will look really cool with this pattern. Time to prep for the final restack. Here I'm cutting it in 2, restacking it for our 744 layers. The billet was way wider than I really wanted here for what I wanted to deliver as the finished billet. So after the forge welds, I put it on its end and forged it down, and that really tests your forge welds if that seam is going to hold. And it did. After getting it down to the width I wanted, then I started drawing it out, getting ready for the final split to make this 2 billets.
So I've drawn it out, cut it in 2. Now ready to do the final forging on these billets, put the pattern in them. Let's get them in the forge.
At this point, I probably got about 9 or 10 hours into forming these billets, so I really hope they go well, but the end is in sight.
All right, I got the 2 billets forged out. They are about 3/8 thick, and it's time to do the basket weave. I've already done the pattern on this one. All I did was mark out 3/8 lines and then draw crisscrosses on each one. So I'm going to do that on the other one, and then I'll take an angle grinder with a disc, not a cutoff disc, but one size bigger, and then just take these down about just under an eighth. All of these lines, and that'll create our crisscross. Then it'll get forged one more time, which should widen it a little bit. It's 1.5 inches now, but it should be like 1 3/4 inches, and it should get a little more length. Almost there.
The key to this pattern being successful is the high layer count. Without that, you really won't see the chatoyance and the depth and that 3D effect. So I'm really hoping that comes through.
Here we are. 2 basket weave billets ready to go in the forge.
A friend of mine said after looking at these billets with all the lines in them, they look like really aggressive files, which they kind of do. I used my drawing dies at a 45-degree angle here just to give the billet a little bit more width. I ended up right around 1 3/4 inches.
Here we go, folks, the final reveal. Hopefully you can see that diamond pattern. It's almost a 3D effect on the blade. That's exactly what I was going for. That basket weave pattern on the blade. There's just a little mineral oil on it. This is only sanded to 320. When it goes to 1,000 with a finished blade, this is going to pop.
There it is, folks. That's the Basket Weave Damascus Throwdown Challenge. Tyrell Knife Works and Dave Irving at Evader Knives. I'm going to send one of these off to you, Dave. I'm going to keep this one. Any knife in any style, you just got to use this billet. You can manipulate it any way you want, but you got to use it. All right, folks, it's up to you guys to comment, watch both videos, tell us what you liked and didn't like, and which one you liked the best. Thanks, folks. Watch the build videos soon.